At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Well, happy Wednesday morning to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. It is Coffee with Krueger, and it is 7:01 in the morning. I'm enjoying my second cup of coffee. Oh, so good. And it's so cold out there this morning. All right, maybe not so cold, but this is actually one of the chilliest mornings we've seen in a while in the valley. Temperatures mainly in the low 60s, even some upper 50s for some of those cooler spots in the valley. It is making for a gorgeous start to the morning, but wouldn't you know, of course, it's going to start to heat up again as we go into the next several days. Today, the peak of the cooling trend, because yes, it is cooling out there. We are seeing that cooling trend. Yes, and of course, the big story for Redding at this point is, are we going to break the all-time record of consecutive days where we've seen 100 degrees or higher, right? A consecutive number of days of 100 plus degree temperatures. The record is 26 days. So far, since yesterday, well, as of yesterday, 19 straight days. Now, that's nowhere near the record. We've still got several days to go. However, if we get up to 100 degrees today, I think we're going to shatter the record, but it's going to be borderline. So my question to you out there is, how many of you want to break a record? How many of you want to see that record get broken? Because here's the difference. Here's the deal. So the forecast high for Redding is 99. All we need to do is just bump it up to 99, up to 100, and now we're on track to shattering that record of 26 straight days. I say, if it's going to be this hot for this long, let's just do it. Let's break a record. Let's say, whoo, it was, and then we can tell our friends and family about it. It says, I made it through one of the hottest summers on record. Because yes, again, depending on, your thoughts and your opinions on it, we broke an all-time high in Redding with a high of 119 degrees last month, or this month. And of course, we could then break the same month the consecutive number of days that we've seen 100 degrees or higher. I say let's go for it. That's what I say. Let's kind of check in and see what's going on here. Stream channels. Looks like we are streaming, so we are good. So let's get you to what's going on this morning. And, you may have noticed yesterday that we did see thunderstorms, and more thunderstorms than I was expecting, especially into Siskiyou County. Of course, I was expecting them in Modoc County, but they even made their way into Lassen County as well. Now, even early this morning, we're talking 2 o'clock or so in the morning, we saw a lot of lightning strikes just outside of Northern California. So that activity was kind of sticking around for a while. But for now, looks like things have dried out. And the thing is, it'll be dry today as well. Now, remember, I was talking about one of the cooler mornings we've seen already. It's beginning to warm up for Redding. But I mean, look at Red Bluff, 63, as well as Chico, 58 degrees for Willis. I think I saw earlier this morning, Chico was like 59. So again, yeah, the temperature's out, the sun is out, and it's beginning to warm us up. We're beginning to warm up here pretty quickly. Temperatures in the low to mid 50s for the higher elevations and mid 50s out along the coast. Visibility is actually looking pretty good. Let's take a look at the Elk Country, just north of Trinidad there. And it looks like we are seeing some of those low clouds kind of sticking around, right? But as we take a look at the, not even really low clouds, more of what we call a stratus deck that's moved in. That's also the case up north into Crescent City. So the visibility is actually pretty good, but we just kind of have those overcast skies. Now, that being said, I do think that eventually we could see ourselves kind of see some of that begin to clear out. I think some of us along the coast could see a little bit more sunshine, but not this morning. Right, we've got the overcast skies. Visibility is good, but again, the overcast skies. And you can see temperatures in the 50s and 60s for the higher elevations this morning. Now, for this afternoon, we're looking at temperatures. Yeah, I mean, look at this. For the first time since June 27th, Redding, at least, hasn't dropped below 100 degrees. So for the first time since June 27th, we may drop below 100 degrees. And that will be the case for everyone in the valley. Temperatures today in the mountains, cooler there as well, mainly in the 80s. Some of the warmer spots like Mount Shasta at 90, and of course Trinity County tends to be a bit warmer too. Lower elevations, one of the reasons why. But 95 degrees for Weaverville, 94 in Hayfork, and Trinity Center about 93 degrees. And of course for the coast, staying cool. That's where you're cool, man. Stay cool. Stay cool, man. All right. Let's take a look and see what everybody's up to. Oh, nope. Before we get to that, we got to look at the 7-day forecast. So you can see temperatures after today, they're increasing. And they're slowly inching their way back up to possibly 110 degrees by early next week, especially for Redding and maybe even Red Bluff and Chico, too. For the coast, yeah, low, mid-60s. Again, staying cool, man. There you go. Inland, temperatures low 90s, Thursday, Friday, mid-90s, Saturday, Sunday, upper 90s to about 100 degrees for Monday, Tuesday. And for Weaverville, you've got temperatures back up to about 100 degrees by the end of the week, and especially this weekend. And look at El Torres and Susanville. Could we see more of that monsoon moisture working its way in? It's a possibility, and that could mean the potential for more thunderstorms. And yes, we don't want to talk about it, but dry lightning is a concern. But it's one of those things where it's coming and going on the long-range forecast model. So not set in stone, but I just want you to be aware that that is something that I'm tracking and monitoring. All right, now let's check in. Looks like we've got a few people kind of chiming in this morning. Let's see what we got going on this morning. We have got Tracy, some of our regulars chiming in this morning. Good morning from MacArthur. It's chilly this morning, but I won't be complaining. LOL, let's just do it. May as well break those records. That's what I say, Tracy. That is exactly what I say. And Curtis this morning saying, good morning. First morning we could turn off the swamp cooler in a long while. I mean, how great is that? I mean, you can actually turn off your swamp coolers, your air conditioners, open the windows, let in some of that cooler air. Now, if you live in an area where the smoke is, of course, you're going to want to make sure you keep those windows closed, but you get the idea. Looks like we got Rebecca Lynn. She's becoming more of a regular. You're one of the new regulars. So glad you could join us this morning, Rebecca. Good morning from Paradise. And we, of course, have got Jeff Johnson saying good morning. Really loving the cool morning. I am too. In fact, I'd open my window, but I live on a busy street, so then cars go by. But I got to open up the windows this morning, and then what I do is since I don't have a whole house fan, what I do is I take the fan and I put it right there at the window opening and just let that fan draw in that cold air. And man, it was just nice this morning. So there you go. There you go, folks. It's cooling off this morning, and it's really nice. But wouldn't you know, it's going to warm up pretty quickly. So enjoy the cooler weather today, because today is the peak of the cooling trend. But yeah, it's going to start to warm up again after that. Well, what do you say we get to the big old forecast? Actually, this is actually kind of I kind of showed you the forecast so you can get out the door. So those of you that just need to get out the door real quickly, you can do that based on just seeing today's forecast and the 7-day forecast. But we are now going to go into, especially this time of the year, we're going to go more into, let's see here if we can get that going. I've got to make sure everything's in place. We're going to talk more about the fire, the current fires, where we're at with those as far as the perimeters and the acreage and all that good stuff. Not good stuff, but all that information. And then we'll kind of go into a little bit more of the forecast, then a deeper dive in the forecast. Kind of a different little segments that we have here on Coffee with Krueger. We'd like to make it real. And by the way, today is the last Coffee with Krueger this week. I am going on vacation with my family. I'm not going to tell you where, because we're going to be doing another contest where you can win some free Weather NorCal swag. That's right. So be sure to stick around on social media, in particular on Facebook, and I'll have details on that. By the way, this year, I'm not going to have you commenting on, well, you can comment if you want. What is going on there? Eesh. Okay, well, that was just the number of lightning strikes, I guess. But anyway, where was I? I got distracted because there was some weird thing that my map is doing here. All right, but yeah, so the contest. So you will be able to get involved in that. But I'm going to be doing a little differently because I don't want scammers to try to come in again and try to scam you all. Remember that with any contest that I do, I will never ask for personal information. Well, I will, if you win, If you don't live in the Reading area and we can't meet somewhere, I'm going to need to know your address so I can send that swag to you. All right, but I will be doing that through email. Okay, because we're going to be doing all of this through email. That's a much safer track as opposed to using social media, where you get all these crazy people who want to take advantage of it and try to scam people. It's just the way it is these days, wouldn't you know? All right, so let's get you to the forecast now, or at least the fires. So taking a look right now at the Shelley fire. You can see the fire perimeter with some of the reds in there, but really what I want to focus on, and I'm going to get up here because it's a lot of colors, and it's going to be hard for you to kind of discern what all the different ones are. So this right here is the fire perimeter. You can kind of see just its own shade of red right here. Now the lighter shade of red, which is right here, that's the most recent activity we've seen in the last, say, 6 hours or so. So that's really the only activity we've seen from the Shelley fire. Otherwise, these yellows and grays and all that is anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5 days old. Okay, so we really haven't seen a lot of activity recently coming in from the Shelley fire. Forgot to bring my clicker here. Let's bring you southward, and we're now going to take you to, and really the fire perimeter is below all of this. So this area of red right here, that's all recent activity in the last 6 hours. The Hill fire is the next fire of concern, most likely sparked by lightning strike, and it has grown. And it definitely has grown a lot over the last 24 hours. So that is one of the things that we are concerned about when we're talking about the new fire that has developed here in extreme eastern Humboldt County. So we look at the Shelley fire, and I'm going to double check these numbers because usually right around the time that I go on here, sometimes we start to see updates with the fires as far as their overall acreage. But doesn't look like it has changed. So that's good. But there you can see the Shelley fire, 15,317 acres, 8% containment. Now that's an improvement since yesterday. Yesterday was at 5%. So this morning it got updated to 8%. Let's take a look at Scott Valley. There you've got Etna. There you've got Greenview. There you've got, eventually we're going to kind of zoom out here. We're going to take a look at Fort Jones. This is just to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. Because Scott Valley, beautiful area, you're just surrounded. It's kind of like a mini big Northern California valley, right? It's just this beautiful valley. A lot of agriculture there as well. But of course, the mountains are right there hugging some of these communities, such as Etna. So what's happening is this, and I'm gonna get back up to the screen here because I want to show you what's going on. So it's coming down this ridge. Now there is kind of a bit of a drainage right here. Then another ridge has got to go up before it goes down into Etna. So that's essentially what we're looking at right now for Etna. Let's take a look at how far that fire perimeter is from Etna. And this is something that's been growing all week long. Now it's getting closer. It is now just a little under 3 miles, at least the latest fire perimeter. Keep in mind, this was a fire perimeter that was updated late last night. So we don't have the latest one coming in for this morning. Sometimes it's usually around now, 8, 9 o'clock when we start to see the new fire perimeters begin to come out. Let's take a look now at Greenview, and it's coming down that last ridge and coming down the backside. It is almost right there in the valley itself. Now it's just a little over 3 miles from Greenview right now. And let's go ahead and take a look now at Fort Jones. And of course, Fort Jones is a little bit deeper into the valley, a little bit farther away from those mountains. So as a result, a little bit farther away from that fire perimeter at about 8 miles. All right, now let's focus our attention on the Hill fire. Once again, we are looking at the old fire perimeter, the deep red, or you can see that brighter shade of red. That's the old fire perimeter from last night. And then coming in this morning is the latest fire perimeter. You have some of those spot fires on the north and west side. Right now it's at 3,437 acres at, unfortunately, 0% containment. So some of the communities that we're most concerned about, or at least are communities that are kind of neighboring where that fire is Willow Creek, Burnt Ranch, and Blue Lake. So about 8 miles from Willow Creek and Burnt Ranch. And of course, much farther distance for Blue Lake at about 15.6 miles. But this is obviously something that's worth monitoring and tracking is as the fire grows, and it will most likely grow, we've got to see and watch these communities. It's in a very rough, deep terrain. You can clearly see that terrain there. So it's a very isolated area, rural area, and there are, of course, evacuations associated with that. We'll take a closer look at that on watch duty here in a second. Let's take a look at the point fire. This really hasn't changed much. It's 85 acres, 90% containment. That, they should be getting closer to that containment here, but still, again, the distances haven't changed either. So I was saying we take a look at watch duty. Let's take a look right now. I want to show you this. And you see that orange dot that's glowing there? That is the hill fire. And that was yesterday's activity. We saw it really, that's when we started to see most of the growth was yesterday. But overnight, we're not seeing much of that orange glow anymore. So what that's telling us is, yes, over the last 6 hours or so, we've seen some recent hot spots in activity, but you can see it's quieted down overnight. But that may change as we go into tomorrow, or today, that is. Now, we take a look at watch duty. We looked at the hill fire. We looked at Shelley fire, and not to mention the point fire. What we're going to do now is for the hill fire, I'm just going to show you where we have those mandatory evacuations. And you can see there, really what you have here is not really impacting a whole lot of communities. I do want to note that the town of Ruth is to the south of this. No. Is it? No, that's from the post fire. Never mind. But you can see the evacuation orders to the east of the fire, to the west of the fire, or right where the fire is. You've got those evacuation orders. Let's take a look. I haven't done this in a while, but you can see the evacuation orders that we still have in place surrounding the Shelley fire. And of course, Highway 3 is closed, basically between Etna and Greenview, Cheeseville area. That's just, of course, to make way for all of the firefighters. They got to make sure that they don't have a lot of traffic in there. They got to be able to have those roads opened for themselves to be able to fight that fire effectively. So that's what we're looking at here with those evacuation orders and warnings. You've got the Dewey fire at 80% containment and 109 acres. Usually what watch duty does is when the fire is 50% contained or more, it turns into that gray icon. Just to kind of give you an idea that, it's getting some pretty good containment on there. Then, of course, you got the rim fire, which is at 40% containment. So we're seeing better containment out of this, even over the last 24 hours, at 1,025 acres. We don't have a fire perimeter for that one. And then, really, if you look closely here, and you'll see that we've got several other little fires out here that you can kind of see right here, all these little fires. Most of these, if not all of them, were most likely started by lightning strikes. You remember the last few days, we've seen a lot of those lightning strikes and those thunderstorms moving through. And it's almost as if it's just like it's guaranteed. When we get these thunderstorms, these lightning strikes, you're going to start to see fires. The key is, and a lot of times, they're able to kind of get a handle on these fires, keep them at a couple of acres, 10 acres or so. The problem is sometimes one of those fires can take off. There might be more vegetation. There might be more dry vegetation just around the area. The winds may pick up, and that's exactly what happened with the hill fire. The hill fire, again, was most likely associated with a lightning strike, and it's just one of those fires. It's in very difficult terrain. Most likely, they've got to use some smoke jumpers to get out there because it's just, such rugged terrain. Very steep inclines and declines and ridges and little valleys in there. So it gets very difficult to fight those fires. Yesterday I did notice, let's go into the layers here. I think I've got it set up with I am a member. I should be able, I don't know if I may not be, I'm not logged in. I'll have to log in, but you can also see the track of the airplanes. Yeah, it's not working for me. You can see the track of the airplanes, and I saw a lot of activity, not only over the hill fire, but over many of these other smaller fires as well, as we try to keep a handle on them. So, best of luck to the firefighters, and we can only hope that they're able to really get a handle on that hill fire. So there's, of course, the latest look at the point fire. Let's take you now to the winds. Now, the winds, not that much of a factor this morning. That's normal. That's pretty standard. But then as we go through the afternoon, the winds begin to pick up. Now, the winds will probably not be as strong as they were yesterday. So we can at least be grateful for that. But look at the humidity levels. And this is a good sign. When we get in that 20 to 30% range, sure, it's still low, but it's better than the teens and the single digits. Okay, so you can see Etna, and of course around the fire itself, the Shelley fire, you're talking about 20% and humidity. That's low, but again, we've certainly seen much lower conditions as far as the humidity is concerned. So we look at the fire weather risk, and yes, we're even seeing lower risk for the valley. We're in that moderate range, and that's also the case for central Siskiyou County and many of the eastern mountains. And look at western Siskiyou County. Look at Trinity County, more in the green, indicating the low fire risk. So those are the better conditions that we have for the firefighters, at least. Look at all the clouds to our north and the Pacific Northwest. That's what moved through us yesterday, bringing the thunderstorms that we did see yesterday afternoon for Siskiyou, Modoc, and Lassen counties. We look at Futurecast, and here's the noon hour. We're still seeing a lot of that low clouds and fog persisting along the coast. There may be some clearing, though, as we go through the afternoon along the coast. And then, of course, that just returns most likely into the overnight hours tonight, about 10 o'clock. But notice also, no more thunderstorms, at least for today, in the mountains. Welcome to sight. Well, remember, we're talking about temperatures of 100 degrees or higher in Redding. The record is 26 days, set in 1978. So far this year, we've seen 19 days since June 28th. 19 days. Every single day, it's been 100 degrees or higher for the last 19 days in Redding. Let's look at the trend. So you can see, again, there's June 28th, 100 degrees or higher. That's when it started. That's when we started this stretch. And then so far for the entire month of July, it's been 100 degrees or higher for Redding. That puts us at 19 consecutive days, as I mentioned. Now, we look at the trend, we may break that stretch today. And if we do, we're nowhere near the 26 days, the record of 26 days. However, if we reach 100 degrees, and it's a possibility, if we reach 100 degrees, then we could not only match or meet that 26 days, but now we're approaching 30, 31 days. Because after today, temperatures are only getting hotter. And we will be at 100 degrees plus through this week, through next weekend, and most likely even through next week. So this is why I say, and this is why I ask the question, how about you? What say you, for those of you that live in Redding or even the surrounding areas, what say you? Would you like to, listen, we're talking 1 degree. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, listen, 99, 100 degrees, you're splitting hairs. So if we can get up to 100 degrees, now we can brag about how we made it through that summer where we saw 30 plus days of 100 degrees or higher, straight, all consecutively. I mean, that's kind of fun, right? At least have that. But yeah, we definitely need to do everything we can to stay cool out there. Okay, let's take a look at the cameras out there this morning. You're looking at Main Street, Chico. Looks like, of course, conditions are okay over there. We take out to Highway 99 at Neal Road. Yeah, just your typical traffic here in the morning. And then, of course, we take it to Highway 44 at Sundial Bridge Drive. And today is actually Wednesday. Now, typically on Thursdays I do Ag Report, but because I'm going to be gone tomorrow and Friday, I'm not going to be doing Coffee with Krueger those days. And of course, I'll have more on that contest later today. So be sure to keep following me on social media, in particular Facebook, and I'll have details on that contest and how we do it. Jay is saying, let's break the record. Yeah, I agree. All right, so without further delay, we actually, several weeks ago, I went out and recorded this segment. Number one, I want to apologize for the wind noise. I didn't have my wind socks with me, so it didn't block the wind. However, you should still be able to get what I'm saying and what the person I'm interviewing is saying. But I went out to Clay Farms. This guy's from Santa Barbara. He and his wife and his family just brought his family out here and bought some land out here in Northern California and decided this was a good place to start a farm. So let's check it out. Let's check out Clay Farms, what they're all about, what they do, how they got here. Sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery. Hello everyone, Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal, and this is NorCal Ag, sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery. Right now I've got Brandon from Clay Farms. So you and your family, you came out here from Santa Barbara about 4 years ago. So we're going to come out here to Happy Valley and start a farm. what was the motivation behind that first and foremost?
Yeah, it was just right around the time COVID was hitting, and also my son was just born, and so we were just kind of thinking about our future and how we can really not just survive but thrive and kind of grow. So we kind of we're looking elsewhere to get a little more traction. The large plots of land were really appealing to us out here. The natural, water source that's out here was also very appealing. And we like to hike, fish, we're very outdoorsy, so there's a lot of that available out here. So the cost of living, of course, is also lower, so that does help.
I can imagine, especially coming from Santa Barbara. So how fitting is it that a farmer, someone who farms, is outdoorsy, right? That only seems appropriate. So behind us right here is we've got your farm. And I see a lot of different things. And the thing is, I do this ag report. I don't know a whole lot about farming. My wife is actually better at all of this. But you have a lot of different things here. So tell me what it is that you grow here.
Yeah, I mean, we have a mixed seasonal vegetable farm. We do cut flowers as well as edible flowers, lots of herbs, root vegetables, salad greens, brassicas. We have microgreens, and we also have, this is just a part of our farm, we do have an indoor mushroom farm as well. We are what's considered a no-till market garden, which means we don't till our soils. We also don't leave our soils bare, which really helps to increase the microbial life in the soil and to feed that soil food network. We now know that tilling can actually break that network down and also release carbon into the air, the atmosphere, to also increase the greenhouse effect, right? So that's a way we're actually sequestering carbon back into the soils with this method. It also builds up the local ecology. You can see behind us there's what we call a local hedgerow. So it's just native plants that help build, habitat for local birds and pollinators. So
this isn't necessarily anything for you to sell or harvest, but this is just for the...
Well, it's actually both. So there you can see some edible marigolds in there, some lavender, so some hyssop, which is an herbal tea. So there's a combination. We do try to use as much space as we can to also grow and to offer to the community at our farmers markets. So
well, and the cool thing is you're talking about how growing, right? Behind here it looks like you're kind of clearing out some space. So your farm is growing as well, right? Is that kind of the plan here?
Yeah. So this year we're actually doubling our production space. So we've been able to grow all our food on this small plot, which this no-till method, we've been able to grow a lot of food in a little bit of space, and that's kind of the goal. High rotation crop is called intensive farming because you're always flipping beds, planting new stuff in. But we're actually going to be able to double that this year and be able to offer up some more varieties, more longer term crops like melons and winter squash, things that actually take a lot longer in the ground. So yeah, very exciting.
So it sounds like you really do a lot here. You got a lot of great plants here. Where can people find you and get your products? Because I'm sure people watching go, wow, this guy is legit. He's got some stuff going on here. Where can they get your stuff?
Yeah. Right now we like to sell directly to our community. So we're at the farmers market every Saturday behind City Hall from 7:30 to noon. We're going to be picking up another market very soon. It's going to be probably the Tuesday market, the Churn Creek market, and you can find all the markets times on Shasta Growers Association website. So we do also have a couple accounts that we sell to, like Evergreen Coffee. They like to source local, and they have a nice little deli that they use a lot of our products with, and Market Street Blade and Barrel has been a great client. So we've also worked with Field to Fork California, their local aggregate, in the past. So we also do some pop-ups sometimes in the winter, local mushroom subscription boxes, stuff like that.
Wow, so I mean, it just seems like you've got all the bases covered here. So I think it's great what you're doing here. I wish my wife could have been here. She would have loved your garden. This is really fantastic what you're doing here. So wish you nothing but best of the luck. And of course, you know where to find him at the farmer's market. And of course, those new ones that he's going to be involved with as well. I think there are going to be a lot of great new things that you'll find from Clay Farms. So thank you again, and we will see you next week for another NorCal Ag sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery. Wasn't that just dreadful, all that wind noise? I apologize for that. Those wind socks, I mean, once you put those on, it makes all the difference in the world. So I've got to just make sure I keep those in my car. They're always there. And so when it is a windy day like that. So I apologize for that, extremely apologize for that. That's just very unprofessional, and that just bugs me to death. But anyway, just a great guy. Got to meet his wife. Went out to the farmer's market a week later and got to talk to her a little bit as well. And you know, they really, like I say, they come from Santa Barbara, and it was just very expensive to live there, very expensive to have property, and it was just so much cheaper to have some property out here. And I say, bring them over. I mean, these local farms, I tell you what, they do some amazing things, and I would much rather buy produce from our local farmers than from some, you know, big chain that could be from anywhere. Of course, we want to support our farmers in general, but it's always good to support the local farms, and especially when you start talking about organic, you don't have to worry about pesticides and all that other stuff. So I think it's fantastic. Jay is saying, oh, this is kind of interesting. Let's see here. Jay is saying that he says, hey, Brandon, I came from Santa Barbara 13 years ago. So, Brandon, you got a neighbor. You got a neighbor here in Northern California. Jay also said, this is kind of funny, right before this, he said, let's break the record. You know, I agree with you, buddy. I say we go for it and we break that record, and we go for 30 plus days. And then, of course, we can brag about it. We can tell our friends, we can tell our family, hey, you think it's hot? Try living in Redding where it was 30 days of 100 plus degree temperatures. Come on now. You tell me it's hot, right? So, I don't know. I say that's what we do. Well, tell you what, let's get ourselves to the forecast. And before we do that, we got to, of course, mention our sponsor. Without our sponsors, Weather NorCal, and not to mention right here, of course, Coffee with Krueger would not exist. And Coffee with Krueger is made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. So again, want to thank Wind River for their support, all that good stuff. Let's get to the current temperatures out there right now. And yeah, definitely a cooler start to the day than we've seen for quite a while. And you know what? We will continue with that trend over the next few mornings. 68 for Redding, 63 for Chico. I mean, it was cooler than that. Once the sun came out, though, all bets were off and temperatures started to increase already. 40s and 50s for many of the higher elevations, and mid 50s right now along the coast. So here's the thing. We've got slightly cooler temperature today than we saw yesterday, but we're only talking by about a degree or two. Temperatures are warming back up later in the week, this weekend, next week. But I'm also tracking the potential for some mountain thunderstorms on Sunday. Now, in particular for Modoc County and Laston County. So that's something we got to watch. We don't want to see more lightning strikes, but that's just a bit of a reality this time of the year, right? We get that monsoon moisture, and lightning strikes are something we got to monitor. And we're still looking at areas of dense fog over the next few days, really through the rest of the week. Mainly in the overnight and early morning hours is what we're talking about here. So let's take a look at the winds. Fairly calm right now. Good. We take a look at the forecast winds. They're picking up through the afternoon, right? That's going to be normal. That's a normal thing that we see around here. That's the trend that we've seen. They die down again tomorrow morning. Look at Thursday, though. We're seeing a bit of an amp up in those winds. That is probably going to elevate that fire danger going into Thursday, especially for the north end of the valley. And then we go into Friday, again, not as strong, but still, it's just the winds are stronger than we'd like. It would just be nice if they were just calm, because that would make it so much easier for the firefighters, right? But here's some silver lining a bit, because we're looking at 20 to 30% relative humidity for western Siskiyou County and Trinity County. That is actually pretty good, and it makes it easier for the firefighters. And you think about the hill fire, which is actually more within the higher humidity levels, that should make it easier for the firefighters. And not to mention even the 20% near Etna. Now, as we go into Thursday, there you can see humidity levels, again, still 20 to 30. But again, keep in mind, we're still single digits to teens elsewhere, right? Especially in the valley and, of course, to the east. And then once again, Friday, looking at some pretty decent relative humidity levels, but still very dry for the rest of us. To the east of that, of course, the coast, you don't have to really worry about it too much. There it is. I mean, we're mainly in the moderate range for the valley, not to mention central Siskiyou County in the east. And for western Siskiyou County and for Trinity County, no surprise there, in the low range. Let's take you into Thursday. Remember I was talking about those winds picking up? That's where we expect to see some stronger winds and potential for some higher fire danger at that point, not to mention on Friday. But lower fire weather risk and the moderate risk to the north and to the east. Real quick reminder, wildfire prevention. Don't drive on dry grass. Make sure your chains are secure if you're towing a trailer. You don't want those chains to scrape the ground and make sparks. Never toss the cigarettes on the ground. Use grills on a gravel or paved surface. Mow your lawn early in the morning when it's not windy and when it's not hot. When it's hot and windy, don't even think about it. All right? And then never leave fires unattended and extinguish them properly if you do indeed have a fire, say a campfire or something. All right? All right, so here's your forecast smoke. Now, the main producer of smoke looks to mainly be the hill fire, although you can also see some of the smoke coming in from the Shelley fire as well. But it may be a bit hazy and smoky for parts of Trinity County in particular. To the west of that, because we've got that westerly flow of winds, is pushing the smoke off to the east. That may come into and just kind of touch the northwest side of the valley with some haze, and not to mention continuing that even going into tomorrow morning for Trinity County, western Siskiyou County as well. You see, it kind of backs off a little bit here for Thursday afternoon, but Thursday evening, we see another plume of smoke most likely coming in from the hill fire. That makes its way back into Trinity County Thursday afternoon. Thursday night, we actually may see more of that haze and smoke making its way into the Redding and Red Bluff areas. So it may get a little bit more interesting here in the next 24 hours or so. So the area of low pressure right here that moved through us yesterday, and that's what the reason why we saw Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and northern Lassen County all seeing those thunderstorms yesterday afternoon, but that's moved on out. The monsoon moisture is out of here as well, and as a result, no thunderstorms today, even through the noon hour. Still, though, we could see some clearing this afternoon for parts of the coast, but of course that low clouds and fog returns tomorrow morning. And it looks like it's having a hard time, but we could see it breaking up again tomorrow afternoon. And then, of course, no thunderstorms still for your Thursday afternoon for the higher elevations. Taking to Friday morning, there's some of that fog along the coast, even making its way down the Highway 101 corridor. We're still seeing some of that fog persisting through the afternoon. Once again, no thunderstorms in the mountains. But if we were to look to the south over the Sierra, yeah, we're going to be looking at the potential for some of that monsoon moisture coming on in. Now, let's take a look at Futurecast. And what we're seeing here is this area of high pressure to our east. Now, on Sunday, the models have been going back and forth. And in fact, when I made this map, it was a later model. Now their latest model isn't showing any of those thunderstorms in, say, Modoc County, Lassen County. However, we're seeing it go back and forth. So it really has everything to do with the positioning of this area of high pressure. Is it a little bit more to the west? Is it more to the east? Because it's the flow around that high pressure that helps to transport that monsoon moisture up into our region. So if we were to shift this more to the west, yeah, it'd be over us, and we'd be looking at those thunderstorms popping up. All you need is that moisture source, and then suddenly you got those thunderstorms popping up in the afternoon. That's normal, convective activity. But, you know, as we go into Monday, Tuesday, that may still lingering around. We'll see. But this area of high pressure may shift a little bit more to the east, keeping a lot of that monsoon moisture out. It's too close for comfort, and that's why we've just got to monitor it here closely. Now, that same ridge of high pressure that could bring us the monsoon moisture is also the same ridge of high pressure that's going to bring us the heat later this week. So you can see it's expanding, getting larger. See how it's getting closer to us? Our temperatures are ramping up through the weekend and even into early next week. So despite the fact that it's kind of pushing more to the south, it's pushing to the south and west. So it's actually closer to us on Monday, Tuesday of next week. What that means is even hotter. We're talking possibly 110 degrees for places like Redding. Now, it looks like this area of low pressure, as it moves to the east, is being kind of forced northward a little bit. It's having a hard time breaking through this ridge. So as a result, yes, our temperatures may drop a little bit come Thursday, Friday of next week, but that dome of heat is still pretty much almost right on top of us. So temperatures are going to stay fairly hot even through next week. Now, of course, I mentioned this yesterday, earlier this morning, that is, and I've been asking the question, what do you think? Do you want to break a record? Let's take a look at the record. 26 straight days in 1978 when it was 100 degrees or higher. It's 26 consecutive days from July 17th to August 11th. This year so far, we've seen 19 days. It started June 28th, and yesterday, Redding saw a high of 101 degrees. Now, we take a look at the 10-day trend. Look at today. I've got a forecast of 99, but here's what I'll say this. I forecasted a high of 100 yesterday, Redding it up to 101. So, could we see that same trend? Could we still see about 100 degrees here for today? If we do, Not only will today be the 20th day we've seen 100 degrees or higher, but look at the trend. So if you add 10 to the 19 days that we saw since yesterday, we're talking 29 days. Most likely even beyond that, going into 30, 31 days. So if we get up to 100 degrees today, which is very likely, then I think we're going to shatter that 26-day record. Let's do it. Let's break the record. I say we go for it. All right, let's take a look at those wave heights. You can see they're actually beginning to show signs of slackening off a bit. That is certainly going to help if you do need to be out on a small boat, maybe fishing, right? So we've got the marine forecast. Southwest winds at 5 knots, patchy dense fog. That'll really be the main concern if you're heading out over the ocean, is the fact that there will be some of that patchy dense fog as you start heading out. All right, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures back up to about 100 degrees, maybe as early as Friday, but most likely through the weekend. Same situation for places like Hayfork, upper 90s through Saturday, and a little over, in fact, climbing well over 100 degrees by early next week. Your North Coast neighborhood forecast. And there you can see, of course, those temperatures, 80s inland, and of course, even for Shelter Cove, about 68 degrees, 68 for Ferndale, 69 in Hydesville. Temperatures mainly for Fortuna in the mid to upper 60s for your daytime highs. 70 degrees in Blue Lake, 92 for Willow Creek, 89 for Hoopa. So not too terribly hot. Again, today's the peak of the cooling trend. After that, temperatures will start to increase again. We're talking 66 Klamath, 72 degrees for Gas Key, Crescent City, low to mid 60s for the next 7 days. Here's your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Highway 96, temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. There you can see for Wairika, we're back up over 100 degrees here by the weekend and into early next week. Your Scott Valley neighborhood forecast, right around 90. Greenview about 90, as well as Etna, 89 degrees for Callahan. Take you out to Siskiyou County, off to the central and eastern portions of the county. There you see temperatures mid to upper 80s to the north and east, and right around 90, give or take, for places like Mount Shasta, McLeod, and 92 degrees in Dunsmuir. Let's take a look at your Modoc County neighborhood forecast, mainly in the upper 80s, although one of the warmer spots will be likely in El Turris at about 91. We're back up over 100 degrees here and right around 100 degrees by Saturday. Now Sunday, I do have that chance for showers and thunderstorms for Modoc County, and not to mention in the eastern mountains as well. You'll see that in Bernie on Sunday as well, but temperatures increasing after today. Lake Elminor, Lassen Park, you're looking at temperatures in the mid to upper 80s around the lake, and in the 70s for Lassen Park itself. You take you off to the eastern mountains southward, where Paradise, you'll see a high today of 89 degrees, back up to about 100 degrees or higher starting Sunday into Tuesday of next week. And you've got that chance for showers and thunderstorms in Susanville. The eastern mountains in general, although heading west out towards Paradise, Mineral, for example, those chances will be slimmer. We take a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast, brought to you by NorCal Tractor. Your temperature should be in the low 90s here, low to mid 90s, about 96 degrees for Chico, 93 degrees for Durham, and 96 degrees in Oroville. Let's take you up north, about 98 degrees for the city of Shasta Lake, 99 for Redding. For the first time since June 27th, there's a possibility we may not get up to 100 degrees in the Valley today. And that will be the first time, as I mentioned, since June 27th. All right, here's a look at your 7-day forecast for Redding. Again, borderline. Could we see 100 degrees? Not out of the question. Officially, if we do, then we are going to keep that stretch of 100-plus degree temperatures here as we take you into the next several days. All right, there we go. Let's check in, see how everybody's doing out there this morning. We have got a couple people checking in. Not a whole lot going on out there this morning, so we'll kind of wrap this up here pretty quickly. But we have got Elaine Gerard McCullough saying, good morning. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you, Elaine. And of course, if you're just tuning in, just checking out, I am going to be gone the rest of the day today, and not to mention tomorrow and Friday, as my family and I are going out on a vacation. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, I'll be sharing that with you. I'm not going to tell you where just yet, because we're going to be doing another contest. We've got Catherine Schmidt saying, low of 50, the Castle area, very nice and enjoyable. I agree, that definitely is very much enjoyable. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this morning's Coffee with Krueger, folks. I want to thank you all so much for joining me this morning, and we are going to wrap it up by, of course, first of all, mentioning that you can get the free Weather NorCal app on your iPhone, your Android device. Just go to the App Store, the Google Play Store, depending on your device, search for Weather NorCal, and download that app for free. Not only is it going to give you the most accurate forecast here locally, because I have a hand in that. Just to kind of give you an idea, there are 6 different neighborhoods. What I do is I edit all of those 6 different neighborhoods myself. I make the forecast personally myself for those 6 different neighborhoods. Then, when I do that, it goes out to all my platforms. It goes out to the website. It goes out to the maps that you see here when you're watching the forecast. It goes out to the app, right? So it goes everywhere, the 24-hour streaming channel. So it is a forecast that I've had my hands on. And if I'm not working, then it's going to be Brian Wilson has his hands on. And you can rest assured that it's going to be the most accurate and reliable forecast after my 25 years of experience of forecasting here. The longest that any meteorologist has been in this area forecasting for this area. So the amount of experience that I have here is 25 years. So, but again, a cool thing about the app is if you are traveling anywhere, it will follow you. If you go to Michigan or Oregon, right, it will tell you what the forecast is for that area. Now, of course, I won't have a say in that forecast. It'll just go off the computer generation. But you can have that with you. And, you know, if there are any watches or warnings, it will follow you. If there's a thunderstorm warning in your area, wherever you are, it will tell you with the notifications, as long as you have notifications on. So that's what I wanted to do. All right, we're going to wrap things up here. We're going to take a look at some of the cameras. In the meantime, I will not see you until Monday. You'll, of course, see me on social media. I'll be sharing stuff, and we'll be talking about the contest, all that good stuff. But I'm going to be off. Brian Wilson's going to take over from here for the rest of the day today, for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, I've got 4 straight days off. Then from my vacation spot, yes, special coffee with Krueger, because I am going to be doing the show live from my vacation spot Monday, Tuesday, and most likely Wednesday as well. We'll see. It may even be the whole week, depending on how well it goes. So, thank you, Tracy, for saying have a great vacation. I certainly appreciate that. Here's a look at Lake Oroville, North Forebay. We're signing off. Have a great day, everyone, and we will see you. Well, of course, you'll see Brian the rest of the day today, and I'll see you on Monday.